you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest is back by popular demand, been on here many times. His name is Mike Abrams. We're going to talk about veterans today. Get you a pen, be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Appreciate you tuning in and this coming up on Veterans Day week, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I got Mike Abrams on there. Mike, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me with you today.
We go back a long way, about 12 miles.
Thereabout.
Yep.
It's been a long, long time, and we've talked about a lot of different things, and today we're going to talk about something near and dear to a lot of people, and that's all of the activities coming up later this month surrounding veterans and, of course, Veterans Day.
Well, I didn't want to go. I want to talk about motorcycles today.
Well, let's talk about it.
No, we're going to talk about, absolutely. Veterans Day, Armistice Day, a day that we celebrate veterans, and we'll be doing some things that are not just celebrating veterans, but up in the park, for example, we'll be celebrating those who didn't get to be veterans. They didn't make it to the veteran status. And so anyhow, that's how long have you been involved with this Veterans Day parade that they do? Yeah?
Oh, it seems like it's been
30, 40 years. No, it ain't been that long.
Not quite that long, but it seems like it's been 10 years thereabout. I don't know. It's just been a long time that Linda Peters and the Calhoun County Veterans Organization has been working to make sure that there is a good, credible event after the program at Centennial Memorial Park. We want to make sure that on Noble Street that there is a very good parade where veterans can be honored by the community, people who respect them, who honor them for what they did when they served in uniform.
You say a very good parade, and I know you're not talking about the good marchers or the items that's in the parade. You're talking about the people on the side that are recognizing and for those veterans that do come down through there. There'll be a lot of veterans in the parade.
We do expect to see several veterans. There'll be the Chemical Corps Regimental Association will be in there in the parade. The Women's Army Corps veterans, Chapter 62, will be in there. Mm-hmm. The depot will have a armored vehicle from that installation in the parade. The Army Reserve Unit across from Zaxby's on 21 near the New Ollie's and Ashley Furniture. They'll have a vehicle in there driven by a couple of veterans who have been, as young as they are, they have served overseas. They've been deployed to help protect the freedoms that you and I get to be grateful for, and the people who watch your program get to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I know, it's not just military vehicles, and it's not just veterans in the parade. It's young people in churches and different organizations with signs that say thank the veterans. And a lot of the people that line in the street have got their caps on. They identify. They're Korean, Vietnam, whatever. They've got their colors on. So
when we see the grandstands at 10th and Noble Street, mm-hmm. there will be a grandstand set aside for Gold Star families, and we know that those family members have made the greatest sacrifice an American family can do, and that is to give up a family member on an American battlefield somewhere, overseas, making sure that what we stand for, what is red, white, and blue, and truth and honesty for people as far as we can reach. But there'll be a grandstand for Gold Star family members. There'll be a grandstand for veterans, and we'll see probably thousands of people along Noble Street from 15th Street all the way to 9th Street out there to recognize the veterans who are in the parade, to recognize the veterans who are standing or sitting next to them along the curbs. And in the parade itself, we'll see churches, we'll see motorcycle clubs, we'll see Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, we'll see first responders. We'll see the Elks and the American Legion posts in the area, the Shriners. We'll see a lot of people getting out, and we're hoping it's going to be another beautiful day. But we'll see a lot of people out there visibly engaging the veterans, shaking their hands, patting them on the back, and saying thank you and welcome home.
You know, last year I come out of the closet, so to speak, with my track chair. Looked like
Right.
a tank, and had it in the parade. And man, I'm telling you, I felt like I was. I had Elvis there riding with me or something, because they love that. It wasn't me. The track chair is what got them. These kids was, oh man, look at that! You know, it's camo and got tank tracks on it. But yeah, it's pretty awesome that the people, the veterans that I see on the sideline there, you know, they're saying this parade's for us. That's the day that you honor them, and it's their parade. And those that's in the parade. Now I'm going to ask you about your Grand Marshal, because you've got the Grand Marshal this year that everybody around here should know who he is.
I would think so.
Yeah, Paul
Everybody
Brulette.
knows Paul Brulette. He served as a soldier with 2 combat tours in Vietnam.
Jumped out of good planes.
He jumped out of good planes 40 times. And he earned his combat infantryman badge. He earned a Bronze Star. He earned 5 campaign ribbons in Vietnam. But his service did not end there.
It didn't.
Not only did he take care of his battle buddy on the left of him, on the right of him, in front and behind, he continues to take care of those battle buddies, fellow veterans. And he has been a member of the Disabled American Veteran Chapter 98 for some 20 years. He has been one of the lead drivers for the DAV van going from Oxford to Birmingham 5 days a week. He has done that for nearly 20 years. When I asked Paul what does his logbook look like, he said that his logbook has about 7,800 hours, more than 100,000 miles that he has driven that van between Oxford and Birmingham, helping local veterans who may not be able to drive themselves or may not have a family member who can get them over to the Veterans Administration in Birmingham. He's been driving for 20 years, 7,800 miles, hours rather, 100,000 miles, and getting those veterans over where they can get to their appointments. And then he waits on them, and then he brings them home.
I was going to say, that driving over there is one part, coming back is another part, but to go over at 6:30 in the morning for somebody that's got an appointment at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just have to sit there all day long, is just, you just can't measure that dedication. But his wife also she needs to have that woman needs a trophy at her own vehicle. But what I was going to say when you were talking about that, I know some other people that have done some of that, not as much, nowhere near what Paul has, but my friend Matt Pepe. Matt had his own problems, physical problems, but a lot of days he was carrying people to the hospital in better shape than he is, and so does Paul. That's the thing about it, is when you feel bad, you can't just say, well, I'm just going to lay in, even though he's retired. He's
Right.
got people waiting on him down at Oxford to go into Birmingham. Yeah.
Well, he retired as a soldier. He retired as an Army civilian employee at Anniston Army Depot. Paul may be slowing down a little bit, but it is time that this community recognize him, and the committee rather for the parade decided that he is the perfect candidate. He exemplifies, personifies what the U.S. Veteran is all about. And so he is the Grand Marshal, but in the van with him.
Well, let me hold that thing, because they're telling me I will get out in my own van if I don't go to this commercial. We got to go to a break, come back. We're going to talk more about who's in the van. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with Mike Abrams today. We're talking about the Veterans Day Parade here in Anniston. But Mike, that is not an Anniston Veterans Day Parade. It's all county. It's all the area. What is it called?
Well, it's the 2016 Veterans Day Parade in Anniston.
Okay.
And it's on Noble Street. It's in the city of Anniston, yes, but this parade reaches out to east central Alabama. We would like people from all of the surrounding
If they
counties.
can watch us here, we're in northeast Alabama. They can see us.
And if they can see us right now, they ought to come out on Friday, November 11th, and see the parade. In fact, why don't they come out at 11 o'clock and participate in the Veterans Day program at Centennial Memorial Park,
And make
stay
their
in
day.
town for lunch, and then come over to Noble Street at 2 o'clock for the start of the parade at 15th Street, and we'll take care of them.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's a beautiful park down at the end of Civic Center in Oxford now, called Liberty Park. It would be the southwest corner, down where they used to have the golf course in there in that area. Beautiful, beautiful Liberty Park, dancing water, red, white, and blue waters, and it's just an awesome deal. The day before, on the 10th at 7 p.m., we're going to dedicate that and have a Veterans Day ceremony there that evening.
Right.
John Merrill, the Secretary of State, is going to be there, and everybody around here knows John, and it's going to be an awesome deal. But Bill Partridge was one of the leaders, Charlotte Hubbard and myself and a couple other people, to get that there, and they're never going to interfere with what we're doing. We're going to coordinate all of it. So they decided to go the day before with theirs, and just while we're talking about that, if somebody wants to get something in the parade, let's say you got an old antique car, you want to put a sign on there that says supporting veterans or whatever you want to do. Here's the numbers, folks. This round so you get the pen. That's 256-591-3093, 591-3093, and that's Linda Peters, and she can get you an application. Or call Mike at 256-453-3840, 453-3840, and get an application. And you need that application so that the parade committee can figure out where to put you in the parade. You know, you don't want all your church groups together, and you don't want all this. And you're sure if you're riding a horse, you don't want to put them at the front.
The people working on organizing the actual layout of the parade are working that issue right now. And come parade day, if we have someone who wants to walk up to be in the parade with their vehicle, with their horse, with their dog, with their veteran father, whatever the case might be, their antique vehicle, please go to the farmers market side of the Calhoun County Admin building at 17th and Noble, and we'll get you in the parade there. The deadline was last month, of course.
Okay.
But I only say that to make sure that people understand. If they see the application, there's a deadline listed on there, but that should not hold them back. We will take walk-ups, and we'll get people in the parade.
Well, there's another thing that's important to it is the announcers at the reviewing stand. I'm saying next up is Joe Schmo from the whatever club, and behind Joe is somebody else that just showed up and didn't get all his information there, and ends up to being, but instead of Joe, it means a Susie. So it's important so that the people
That is correct.
that can line them up and give. I called a parade out there one time in Anniston, the Christmas parade. And I'm going to tell you, I said, next coming up is the First Presbyterian Church or so, and it was a bunch of motorcycle riders or whatever, you know.
Well, the management team, under the direction of Linda Peters, will make sure that that information gets from the Calhoun County Administrative Building to the reviewing stand at 10th and Noble.
If
We'll
she
make
don't
sure
fall
that-
and break something.
Well, we'll make sure. We'll have a golf cart. We'll have transportation. The city of Anniston has really been great for us year in, year out.
Yeah.
Stephen Folks and the other people at the city of Anniston proper, they really go all out to make sure that everything that we hope to accomplish is done. Now, Stephen Folks can't control the weather, but he can make sure that the streets are closed, that the bleachers are in place, to make sure that any trash that might have been left behind is picked up. So we can't say enough good things about the city of Anniston. Can't say enough good things about Linda Peters and the team that she shepherds, herds together every year to make sure that this parade is done and done well on behalf of the veterans in this community.
Yeah. Back in 80-something, right after Saddam Hussein had raided Kuwait, Desert Storm was underway. Linda called me, and I had never met her, and her sister Lisa wanted to do something for the veterans. And long story short, we organized a parade that started at 17th and Noble. We had over 3,000 people, and it was just in support of, and we pulled in there on a tractor trailer that was set up by 14th Street, and as far as the eye could see, was just a swell of people, and it was just patriotic folks. I had a letter from George Herbert Walker Bush and all this stuff. But she's been involved in that for a long time. She went to Iraq too, but Linda has been, her patriotism overflows sometime, and I've always told people that me and you, just because we served, we don't have a monopoly on patriotism.
Oh.
You know, some of the best patriots I've seen never put the uniform on, and I think you would probably agree with.
Without a doubt. I have family members who I love dearly, respect greatly, and their patriotism is not to be questioned. They may not have worn a uniform, but they've been good, civic-minded people. They've paid their taxes, they've supported the government, they supported the military, and this parade is a chance for every patriotic, America-loving individual to support the veteran.
Was Bob Love a veteran, do you know? He used to be your boss.
Oh, yeah. Bob Love and Tim Garrett both worked out at the depot. I worked for them, and Bob Love is a retired Navy nuclear submarine captain.
But I knew that he was always supported us with everything. Matter of fact, Westinghouse, the flags that we had up in the park, that's where they came. We're still using them to this day.
Okay.
Some of the flags. Now that brings up another thing. Do you have funds enough to do everything this year, or do you?
It looks like we have enough to scrape by. We're not getting rich. This is the committee is made up of unpaid volunteers, and
flags is what I'm talking about.
And we've got all of the flags that we need. We've got most of the funds that we need. If someone was interested in supporting this organization, this effort, they could call Linda Peters at the number you gave and make arrangements to send in a donation. But flags, honestly, we do have all of the flags that we need to make sure that every child has one.
Yeah. Well, we run down to less than a minute, so I want to make sure that we got everything in there that the community to support. We need these real estate companies. We need all these people to get involved. Call those numbers. If you can't do it this year, get involved the next year. It takes a lot to do this. I mean, you're not saying that, but I know what it takes to do it. It costs a lot for me to do what I do. Now, at 11 o'clock, we'll have the ceremony in the park, as we always have, with music and whatever. And then at 2 o'clock, the parade starts.
And one of the feature elements in the parade this year is the band from Talladega College, as well as the band from White Plains High School.
Oh,
so it's going to be a very good parade this year.
I want us to work. The one in Birmingham is they got the Clydesdales, and that's That's cheating, buddy. Do that, because if we can get the Clydesdale down here, we can take them all. Matt, I appreciate you coming down here on this, do this, Mike, and we hope we have a great parade. And folks out there, remember what these numbers will tell you. We got to go to a break. Got news that you can use. Stay where you are. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues, news that you can use. Appreciate the Mike Abrams from coming on doing the show today, and it's y'all remember those dates and times. November the 11th at 11 a.m. Centennial Memorial Park, 2 o'clock at the parade starts. For you people that's going to be watching it around 15th and Noble, assemble at 17th and Noble. So that's November the 11th. And November the 10th at 7 p.m. at Liberty Park, the new park on the southeast or southwest end of the Civic Center in Oxford. I need to remind you again, if you've got power chairs that someone does not need anymore and has batteries and are operational, I got veterans that need them. I'll tell you every week about that, but because these people are not eligible for a power chair, but they can move around their neighborhood with one going down the sidewalk. So if you got one that you don't need, give me a call. My information's on the screen here somewhere. And I want to remind you about Toys for Tots. If you here's a number that you need to write down. It's 256-310-6481. 310-6481, and that's Dan Long for Toys for Tots. To get an application, if you know a child that needs help in getting Christmas through Toys for Tots, call that number. If you have a location, a business that you'd like to put a box in to collect toys, give Dan a call at that same number. If you can't remember the number, just give me a call and I'll put you in touch with Dan. But this is a big day for the Toys for Tots. The kids that don't have a Christmas doll, I know firsthand a bunch of them has benefited from this. So remember those phone numbers for the Veterans Day Parade. As Mike had said, the past time for getting the application there, but you can still assemble up there. But if you'd like to be in a parade, they'd like to know who you are, what you're going to have in it. You'll call 256-591-3093 or 256-453-3840. And let's see, I want to remind you, the nurses at the clinic down there told me that to remind you about getting your flu shot. So I'm reminding you, you've been told, and you, the fellow sitting there in that recliner, that black recliner, you need to get down and get your flu shot. And you might want to check on getting a shingle shot and all that while you're there. Wash your hands. Isn't that something? It's a grown man telling people to wash their hands, but that's what the nurses tell you, that the biggest carrier of disease is, for the flu this time of the year, is not washing your hands. Remember, if you're going to buy a tag, that law enforcement tag is what we use to build the memorials up in the Centennial Memorial Park. The next memorial that we intend to build is the Afghan Memorial, Enduring Freedom, and it's got about 400 and something Alabamians on there, and somebody local name will be put on there too. So that's probably the spring of next year. You'll be seeing that, good Lord willing, that we get that done, and keep buying that law enforcement tag, because the revenue from that tag, that's how we build these. Now, the other part of it is having that tag on there with that shield and the rose speaks volumes of who's driving that automobile, that the people in that vehicle have a respect for law enforcement, especially those that died in the line of duty. And so I wanted to remind you about that. We need your help on that, and it goes with every color card that you got. I don't know if Mike's got one, but I'm gonna try to get him to buy one before he leaves here today. Whenever his tag comes with a name like Abrams, you know it's got to be like January. So anyhow, we let's see. If I run out of stuff to talk about here, I got plenty to talk about. Don't have enough time there to tell me in my ear. So this week's salute's going to go out to the Mike Abrams and Linda Peters and all those on that committee that make this happen every year, that put this parade on. A lot of it's veterans, honoring veterans. So this salute is the least I can do for you this week, and I'll see you next week right here on Veterans Issues, and here we go.